have a critical role in managing stormwater on your construction site. In this short video, we will highlight a few keys to help ensure your project is successful. Every project needs a Stormwater Pollution Prevention Plan, or SWPPP. This SWIP describes the location and timing of site-specific best management practices that will be installed and maintained from the time ground is broken through final stabilization. The SWIP serves as the common point of communication among the owner, project manager, designers, and contractors. SWIPs should be edited and marked up as projects progress as a record of how BMPs were maintained, reinforced, or replaced, and they should always be available on-site for inspectors to review at any time. Arkansas's construction stormwater permit requires that inspections be conducted every 7 days or every 14 days and within 24 hours of the end of every half-inch or greater rainfall event. The inspection frequency should be listed in the SWIP, and all completed inspection forms must be kept on site. Any issues like BMPs in need of repair must be addressed within 72 hours and documented on the next inspection form and the SWIP. Your site may also be inspected anytime by the MS4 jurisdiction and/or an ADEQ inspector. If your qualified site inspector is not doing an adequate job, the MS4 can require that they receive additional training. This is the ADEQ inspection form that can be found on their website. While you are not required to use this form, your inspection report should include the following information: the name and title of the qualified personnel who conducted the inspection, rainfall information, such as when did it rain since the last inspection, how much did it rain, and any discharges noticed during the inspection. Land disturbance information, including when the disturbance began, where it is occurring on the site, and when the work was completed and the area was stabilized. The time of disturbance needs to be included to track the time required for stabilization, such as the 14-day window for temporary reseeding. Also need to include a description of any BMPs that need repair and any maintenance actions that were planned or taken. You also need to list any changes that were made to the SWIP and the reasons for the changes. Modifying a BMP is not a problem, the changes just need to be documented in both the SWIP and subsequent inspections. Finally, the inspector must sign and date the inspection form. Keep in mind the first thing an inspector will notice is sediment erosion or mud track out on streets around the site, and will trigger a closer examination of site BMPs, their condition, and their effectiveness. Silt fences are great BMPs when used and installed properly. They should not be used just to line the perimeter of your project, but rather be placed to slow runoff from drainage areas. This example silt fence design detail highlights some keys to proper installation. Silt fence fabric should be attached on the upslope side of the stakes and trenched in. The fence should be set back from the toe of the slope for water impoundment. Regular maintenance should include checking stake stability, cleaning out accumulated sediment, and repairing and replacing torn fence. Wire-back silt fence with steel posts can preserve the integrity of this BMP, but refer to your SWIP for the detail of materials and installation specifics. Additional silt fence maintenance includes inspecting the silt fences within 1 day at the end of each rainfall event of a half-inch or more, and daily during prolonged rainfall. If possible, any silt fence repairs should be made before a predicted rain event, but must be completed within 3 days after the end of the rainfall event. Sediment that has been trapped should be cleaned out after each storm and must be removed once it reaches half the height of the silt fence or as indicated in your site's SWIP. This is a great example of a properly installed silt fence that is structurally sound and will do a great job in keeping sediment from leaving the construction site. This is a prime example of what not to do. The fence fabric isn't trenched in, so it is completely ineffective in slowing runoff and trapping sediment. The soil will easily just wash out underneath it. Here's another great example of a properly installed BMP. This track pad construction exit is doing a great job in preventing mud from being tracked off the site. This is actually another example of a good track pad, but the trucks leaving the construction site are avoiding the BMP by passing around the side of it and tracking mud onto the road. Again, refer to your SWIP for site-specific design details that will describe the length, width, and rock size for your project's construction entrance and exit track pads. Understand that with use, these BMPs become less effective over time, because they can become compacted and filled with mud. However, with regular maintenance, like scraping to turn the rocks or washing or replacing the rocks, they still can do a great job. Just be sure to collect and treat any wash water. This is not effective construction site stormwater management. There's sediment in the street headed for a storm drain inlet that's already clogged with trash. You must clean mud off the streets along your site daily and ensure inlet protection is in place. On the bottom of this image, the opening of a small weir structure is protected with fabric with the added extra bonus of a straw bale. At the top of the image, we see a great example of phase construction and final stabilization around another outfall structure. State regulations mandate that a designated concrete washout area be used. While several commercial washout structures and containers are available, these staked hay bales with a liner work great too. Just dumping concrete washout on the ground, though, is not acceptable. Stormwater regulations require that the following items must be available on site: the notice of coverage from ADEQ indicating that the project has been properly permitted, the site-specific stormwater pollution prevention plan, the accrued stack of inspection reports, and a working rain gauge for reference on inspection report forms. Remember, the ultimate goal of construction site stormwater management is to protect the quality of regional water resources while maintaining economic development. It is much cheaper, easier, and more effective to comply with permit requirements throughout your project than dealing with site violations, fines, and lawsuits later. With your time, money, and your reputation on the line, let us know how we can help you be more successful. The law states that the operator is responsible for stormwater compliance. Understand that a stop work order may shut down all work on the site until compliance is achieved. To avoid that situation, please let us clarify stormwater requirements and reporting now before your project begins.